product for these MSMEs. So the work we have done over the last 4 days is basically a summary of these four themes. So day one was on the MSME Finance Challenge. So we had entities like SBI, WhatsApp, investors like Sequoia coming in. On day two, we talked about service providers and innovations. So what are the new innovations done, for example, in cluster-based financing, in use of physical and digital hybrid models, and so on. Day three, the focus was on ensuring new initiatives such as OCEN and the TREDS platform could be used to potentially reduce the friction in MSME lending. And day four was with a specific focus on women entrepreneurs. So these were the themes which we focused on for the last 4 days. And I would now request Mrs. Dugal, the chairperson of our finance task force, to take the stage and walk you through the key takeaways out of this 4-day deliberation, sir. Over to you, Mrs. Dugal.
The entire GAME team and everyone who is associated with this effort, ladies and gentlemen. We meet today in the closing session of this finance convening, which commenced on Saturday. Let me begin by sharing the journey up to this point. GAME is an inclusive alliance of like-minded people and organizations committed to promoting self-employment at scale. Therefore, the focus is on facilitating entrepreneurs, particularly those who will provide employment to others. Towards this objective, the Alliance has been working on several fronts. The one that brings us all together today is facilitating access to finance for entrepreneurs and MSMEs. A finance task force comprising entrepreneurs and representatives of various financial institutions, research bodies, and self-employed groups, yes, I mentioned entrepreneurs, has been deliberating on relevant issues for some months now. The focus has been on how to speed up the spread of credit to MSMEs, reduce or optimize the cost of capital for MSMEs, support lenders to make them more confident about their credit decisions, particularly in the absence of collateral or credit histories, ensure greater confidence among potential entrepreneurs to borrow, facilitate more women entrepreneurs to raise credit, and ensure that a business continuity of the kind that we are seeing in this pandemic right now does not wipe out a micro or medium enterprise. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the commitment and patriotism of a very large number of professionals, entrepreneurs, and researchers who have participated in the intensive deliberations both before this convening and during it. Such diverse and purely voluntary participation has helped to both deepen and to share the understanding of issues relating to credit for MSMEs, one of the major issues that the country is grappling with. After this convening, GAME will be working on putting together a report to be shared with the government, with the regulators concerned, with industry bodies, and organizations of financial institutions. What is it that has motivated so many professionals to spend so much of their own time and resources on these issues? I think it's because we know our areas of work intimately and we see what the problems are that need to be fixed. And as we see the problems, so do we see the possibilities of improvement. Much of the time, the best solutions don't even need money. Frequently, all they need is a tweaking of the regulatory regime or a reorientation of the ecosystem. Our country's unemployment numbers have begun to improve, standing at 6.5% in November 2020. This is according to CMIE data. There is a need to continue to improve. There are concerted efforts, large-scale concerted efforts to provide employment through schemes like the NREGS and the recently approved Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Even so, in the near and intermediate term, both during the pandemic and beyond it, We will need to galvanize our systems to facilitate self-employment at a scale that supports further employment by the self-employed. A major driver of such enterprise is capital. The credit gap for MSMEs is a large enough number to need attention. The most recent credible number available to me is IFC's estimate of 2018, standing at about 25 lakh crore. Several issues have arisen out of the wild deliberations on facilitating access to credit to MSMEs. Of these, we have identified 4 that need urgent attention. MSR has already mentioned them. Let me try to summarize those and the discussion so far on those and to share the discussion with you. The first issue is about innovations in loan origination, underwriting, and collection. Most of us have heard laments about how borrowers have found it difficult to find adequate collateral for a loan or found the loan paperwork very, very cumbersome. Many new entrepreneurs, particularly those applying for smaller loans, find it difficult to arrange account books and other documents in the manner that these are required by the lenders. With the use of technology, there seem to be simpler ways around this problem. In fact, there are ingenious ways in which existing financial institutions can and do work together to optimize their strengths. In the credit space, we have banks, we have NBFCs, we have microfinance institutions, we have fintechs, we have factoring entities, among others. Banks have access to the lowest cost funds on account of their CASA, current account, savings account deposits. On the other hand, NBFCs and MFIs may have greater proximity, both geographical and otherwise, to potential borrowers, but may find themselves in need of capital for onward lending. Fintechs have increased outreach, and they have developed algorithms with which transactions and other data of borrowers can be used to create credit profiles. When these institutions work with each other through strategies like co-origination or outright purchase of portfolios, they optimize the cost of capital for on-lending. They use lower cost and time resources to assess creditworthiness, and they facilitate more efficient ways to handhold borrowers. Such symbiotic relationships can be further facilitated by strengthening and regulating an appropriate ecosystem. On creditworthiness assessment, there has been clarity for some time that the traditional way of advancing loans against collateral is unnecessarily restrictive. It is also ineffective at many of the new age enterprises, for instance, aggregation. The alternative of assessing repayment capacity can now be done not only by studying business accounts and potential growth, but also by collating reliable surrogate indicators like transaction volumes in history, previous credit information, product selling information from e-marketplaces, savings and investment patterns, cluster data when the entrepreneurs belong to a particular cluster, and even the psychometric profile of the borrower concerned. Use of such data and application of appropriate algorithms has the potential to speed up the credit decisions and also to bring a higher degree of objectivity to the exercise. On collection, there is a growing understanding that when loan repayment is synced with earnings, recoveries are far more efficient. Use of technology has made repayment schedules, even daily payments, easy to manage, imbuing the debtor-creditor relationship with greater confidence and reducing defaults. Indeed, because businesses differ so much in their financial needs and because technology helps financial institutions to become nimble, it is far more possible to adapt a loan product to a borrower's needs instead of trying to force fit a borrower's loan needs to a predetermined product. This has the potential to make the financial institutions far more flexible and responsive to the needs of a business, to the advantage of both the lenders and the customers. The second issue we have been focusing on is about timely payment for goods and services to all entrepreneurs and MSMEs in particular. This issue needs to be looked at from the perspective of reducing the cost of capital for MSMEs and therefore ultimately the cost of goods and services that they provide. Timely payments obviously translate into a reduced need for borrowing, which increases the potential for running more business cycles, improving the MSME's productivity. This in turn has significant implications for our GDP, considering that the MSME contribution to GDP is about 29%. At the enterprise level, timely receipts are expected to be reflected in lower costs of products and services. And in this context, the finance convening has initiated a discussion on ways to increase factoring through TREDS, through supply chain financing, and a possible future trade credit insurance product of the kind that doesn't exist within the country today. The third issue taken up relates to business discontinuity insurance, completely wicked problem. While the current pandemic has thrown up this danger in a stark way, the fact remains that a micro or small entrepreneur does not have the same capacity to withstand business interruptions as does a bigger enterprise. This is frequently the fear in both borrowers and lenders' minds at the time of negotiating a loan. A thoughtful discussion has been initiated on this with the objective of developing the template of a simple off-the-cuff product, off-the-shelf product, which is affordable for the small entrepreneur. The idea is to have a small policy as it is required only to cover an interruption in business, not business failure. Identify triggers and ease of claim settlement. Of claim settlement also converting itself into the time taken for claim settlement. And the effort is to ensure that the costs of both the insurer and the insured are foreseeable and low. The fourth issue about making is about making the playing field level for women entrepreneurs. The need for this is underlined by the numbers, the statistics provided to us by IFMR. 21.5% of the MSMEs in India are run by women. About 90% of them remaining informal and unregistered. About 79% of women-run businesses are self-financed, as women tend to lack access to formal credit. 98% of such businesses are micro-enterprises. In an extensive survey, women have mentioned social and cultural barriers, skill and capacity constraints, lack of adequate access to institutional finance, and lack of networks as being some of the main shackles that hold them back. The session on women entrepreneurs was sometime today, and I'm still recovering from the stories that I've heard so far. We will need some time to process those stories and look for solutions which work for roughly half the population within the country and a large percentage of our micro entrepreneurs. This sums up the main issues that we intend to develop. In a final report, we expect to bring greater granularity into that report, and we are committed to making it as practical and as actionable as possible. We are clear and absolutely aware of the requirement that any solution has to work for all stakeholders, the lenders, the intermediaries, the borrowers, etc., for it to be sustainable and to be really get embedded into the ecosystem within the country. We do look forward to sharing the report with all stakeholders at a near date. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Dugal, for the very clear articulation of the plan. And sir, you will recall one of the things we had mentioned was this issue of delayed payments to MSMEs, right? So we have dwelled significantly on this problem. And in this context, I'd now like to invite Tushar Thakkar, a member of our finance task force and an associate partner at Dalberg Advisors, to walk you through a small presentation on how we think this problem can be resolved. Over to you, Tushar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister for Road Transport and Highways and MSMEs, Mr. Nitin Gadkariji, the Chair of the Game Finance Task Force, Ms. Anjali Duggal, the Game team, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about this important issue around the need for timely payments to MSMEs, as Ms. Duggal identified quite clearly in her previous talk that this is a fairly important area to be addressed, and I'll talk through what are some of the challenges, some of the benefits if this is resolved, and what are some of the leaders in the corporate space doing currently to address this. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Great. Next slide, please. I already spoke about this. The long cash flow cycle that MSMEs have is a very significant issue. The team had looked at a large sample of MSMEs and analyzed their financial statements to figure out how significant the issue really is. Looking at an average of close to 10,000 MSMEs, it figured out that for micro enterprises, while their average annual receivables are in the region of 2 crores, that basically implies that their cash flow cycle is greater than 12 months, given their relatively small size. What this means is that for sales made at a particular time, they only realize the cash for that sales more than a year after, which causes fairly significant cash flow challenges, especially during the times that we are in right now, where we've had a pandemic just go past. Similarly, when we look at small enterprises or at medium enterprises, they also encounter similar challenges. The size of their average annual receivables are larger, just given the size of these organizations. However, their cash flow cycles are significant as well, coming at greater than 4 months for small enterprises and greater than 2 months for medium enterprises. Go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. On this, that point is reiterated. However, highlighting that when we look at the problem specifically for micro enterprises, which account for 97% of MSMEs and also are among the largest employers within the MSME ecosystem, close to 45% of the receivables for MSMEs are delayed more than 6 months, and even within the remaining, most of those are between 45 days to 180 days, with only about 20% of their receivables being due less than 45 days, which again sort of emphasizes the point that we just made around how, the kind of cash flow challenges that they encounter. The problem continues to be significant for small enterprises, with medium enterprises also encountering a challenge. However, the micro enterprises are the ones where this problem seems to be the most acute. Can you go to the next slide, please? A number of initiatives have been undertaken by the government and RBI to address these issues. However, there continue to be significant bottlenecks, and this is a beginning of an exercise to try and sort out some of these challenges. The initiatives which have already been taken by the government and RBI include a definition as per the MSME Act of maximum days of within which payments have to be made by buyers of 45 days. However, as indicated before, the typical tenure tends to be much higher. 3 times interest to be paid by buyers if there are delays. There has been a facilitation council which has been set up to address some of the payment concerns of MSMEs. The MSME Facilitation Council has been set up for that. And the establishment of TREADS, which is the supply chain financing platform, and also a mandatory registration for all organizations which have greater than 500 crore turnover on this platform. These are all fairly significant initiatives. However, a lot more also needs to be done on the side of the industry and by various stakeholders for this challenge to be overcome. On the right, we have indicated what are the current applications in Samadhan. So we can already see that the MSMEs have started filing a fairly significant number of applications. About half of those where PSUs are respondents, and about the other half where other kinds of parties are respondents. and it is hoped that this will lead to significantly more benefits in the future. Next slide, please. The resolution of this challenge of delayed payments can have a fairly significant impact on the whole ecosystem. For the MSMEs, as has been discussed, this would lead to lower cost of capital and increased liquidity, which improves financial stability, growth, and eventually benefits the individuals working within these MSMEs. For the buyers from these MSMEs, there's enhanced sustainability of their businesses through a strengthened supply chain, and also reduced cost as MSMEs see lower cost of capital and see growth. They are able to reduce the cost of what they supply to the buyers and help the buyers improve profitability. For banks and the financial ecosystem, timely payments of MSME loans would lead to lower NPAs and would also enhance the credit worthiness of these MSMEs, leading to greater financial inclusion for these MSMEs. Eventually, all of this combines into a fairly significant benefit for the economy. Examples include increased and timely collection of GST, enhanced employment, and also more certainty of employment for people working at MSMEs, and an overall benefit for the GDP. Next slide, please. And given that this benefit is accrued by a number of different members in the ecosystem, different parts of the ecosystem, therefore collective action is needed to drive benefits for the ecosystem. As indicated, the government has enacted certain regulations, set up certain institutions. Similarly, there is also an increased senior management focus from the sides of the buyers or the corporates within organizations. And some of these organizations have also started demonstrating a fairly strong commitment to delivering payments to MSMEs on time. Today, 8 such organizations are publicly reiterating their commitment to prompt payment by taking the prompt payment pledge, which is a really strong beginning to jointly solving some of these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tushar. I'd now like to request Mr. Uday Shankar, President of Walt Disney Company, APAC, and Chairman of Star and Disney India, to read out the payment pledge. We have senior representatives, including CFOs from Hindustan Unilever, Procter & Gamble India, Raymond, Saint-Gobain, National Collateral Management Services, Quebec Color Private Limited, Excel Industries, Power to SME. So I would request all representatives to switch on their video. I would request Mr. Uday Shankar to read out the prompt payment pledge line by line. And as Mr. Shankar reads out each line, I would request the CFOs and their senior representatives to repeat after him. So this is a small beginning, and we clearly would want more and more entities to adopt this payment pledge. Over to you, Mr. Uday Shankar.
Mr. Uday Shankar was not able to make it. He's having significant tech issues on his end. Would request you as CEO of PM to read the pledge and read it.
Ashwin, can you go ahead and read the pledge, please?
Sure. So I'll be reading out the pledge line by line for all the attendees here. Do follow my. I recognize the critical importance of micro and small enterprises as contributors to the economy and as employment generators.
I recognize the critical importance of micro and small enterprises, MSMEs, as contributors to the economy
and as employment generators. I understand that the payments due to MSMEs are delayed.
I understand
that when the
payments due to MSCs are delayed,
it impacts their earnings, increases their borrowings, and eventually makes their products more costly.
It impacts their earnings,
increases their
borrowing cost,
and eventually
makes their products
more costly.
Overall, this impacts the country's economy adversely.
Overall,
this impacts the country's economy adversely.
I therefore reiterate my commitment to ensure release of payments due to MSMEs.
I
therefore
therefore reiterate my commitment to ensure
to release of
to
payments
release payments due
due to
to
MSC
me
in time.
in time.
I undertake to examine the payment processes
I undertake
Undertake to
examine the
examine the
payment
payment processes within my
processes
organization
to ensure that all due payments are made at the earliest,
to
to ensure
ensure
that
the
all
all
due
the due
all
payments
payments
are made early
are
at the
the earliest
and certainly within 45 days,
and certainly within
within 45
45
within
days
days
as
stipulated.
stipulated under the MSMED Act 2006.
as stipulated under the MSMED Act
MSME Act
2016
16
All
2016
undisputed invoices.
for all undisputed invoices.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all the representatives who were here. And sir, as you can see, we are quite excited about this movement. And we do believe that this movement has the potential to unlock a significant portion of working capital for MSMEs. With these words, I'd now like to invite the Honorable Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises, Sri Nitin Gadkari, to close the MSME Finance Week. Sir, over to you, sir. Sri Nitin Gadkari, to close the MSME Finance Week. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Mrs. Duggal, Mr. Srinivas Rao, Sri Tushar Thakkar, all respectable dignitaries and dear friends. First of all, I am giving my special thanks to you and particularly the CEOs, those who are actually very much committed as far as the payment of MSME is concerned. I really giving you my special thanks from my core of my heart for taking initiative in it. Because the main problem with the small people like MSME, microfinance, everywhere, those who are working MSMEs, they are really facing a lot of problem because of working capital. And that is one of the important need in Indian economy. Our MSME is the backbone of Indian economy, and presently the dream of our Prime Minister to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat, the role of MSME is very important. Presently we contribute 30% of the GDP growth, where our mission and plan is to take it up to 40%. The 48% of the export of our country is from MSME, but now we are trying to make it 60% from MSME. And as far as the employment potential is concerned, is up till now it's 11 crore jobs created by MSME, where we are planning to make the policy the way in which by which we want to create at least 5 crore jobs in these 5 years. And this is very important for the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Without capital, we cannot start MSMEs or industries, and without industry, we cannot create employment potential. The more important problem is related with the agriculture, rural, tribal, and particularly 115 aspirant districts, where we need cooperation from the people like you. Actually, there is a centralization of industry in the urban area, particularly the different type of raw material which are available in the rural sector, agriculture sector, tribal sector, and socially, economically, educationally backward 115 aspirant districts, where we need to take more initiative. The turnover of the village industry is something 80,000 crore, and actually we want to make it 5 lakhs crore in 2 years. And this is really very important to create more employment potential in agriculture, rural and tribal area, and to develop that area socially, economically, educationally, at the same time giving good health services, good infrastructure is very important. Regarding Atmanirbhar Bharat, 100% we need good infrastructure of international standard in the country. Water, power, transport and communication. Today it is a great pleasure and pride for me. The Prime Minister today has already laid down the foundation of the project of which in Gujarat, Kutch, where the project is going to generate 30,000 megawatt of green power. It is a hybrid project, probably windmill and solar. And really, it is the really good start for the country. The ethics, economy, ecology and environment. We need, our economy is important. Ethics, which India is known for that is equally important for our society and for the country, and which is giving us a highest reputation in the global world. But at the same time, ecology and environment is equally important. Today I have a discussion with the chairman of Khadi Gramodyog Commission. These are the bags which are already we are making in Jaipur, where they collect the plastic, waste plastic from the nala, and that using the plastic for making of this handmade paper they are making and making these bags. And also the Khadi Gramodyog Commission has taken initiative to making the good type of paint from cow, particularly the gobar, which they are using for that, and making a good standard paint, which is equivalent to international companies and national companies. It is already certified. The cost is 1/3 of the market price. So this type of small technology, which are going to create employment potential in the rural area. This is cost effective, import substitute, and at the same time, it is pollution free and indigenous. So this type of small initiative, which are very important, and I feel that this type of small initiative is going to strengthen our economy. Presently, the people like you, your contribution for the sector is really good. The Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship. This mass entrepreneurship is very important. We have Institute of Management, Institute of Financial Management, Institute of Human Resources, all are there. But in the country, we don't have the Institute of Entrepreneurship. The innovation, entrepreneurship, science, technology, research, skill, and successful practices, we name it as a knowledge and conversion of knowledge into wealth is the future for the country. But one thing where I will request you, people like you can make these miracles, that conversion of waste into wealth is also equally important. We need to find out the small technology by using the available raw material in that area, and we can make the products of international standards. Now our technology centers, the number is already we have a lot of technology centers in the country. We have till now invested 6,000 crore in it. But now we are planning to give this technology center on lease basis to engineering colleges, IITs, polytechnic colleges, and good track record those who have industries association. That they should understand what exactly the practical training which now is needed in that area. We need to develop products, we need to develop designs, different designs, and 100% this is the need of the hour. I feel that this type of technology, this type of new innovations, new researches, all are available. But they are available in a silos. Some of the researches are available with the government organizations like NIRI, like DRDO, like lot of companies, government laboratories, research centers, they are doing excellent jobs. So Prime Minister and government has taken initiative that whatever the technology which you have, you should transfer that technology to the common man, and that is exactly important. Today I suggest the Khadi Gramodyog chairman that we are not supposed to make the industry and making production for that. We are supposed to facilitate this giving technology to the people, and that is exactly the need of the hour. One thing is very important which I want to request you. I am not exactly neither I am an engineer nor I am an economic expert, neither I am an industrial man. But you have to find out the potential where it is available. Where is the gap where it is available to create employment potential and economic viability. I am giving you an example of now our import of petrol and diesel is 8 lakh crore. And now our ethanol economy is of 20,000 crore. We can easily make 2 lakh crore of ethanol economy, making ethanol from now. We are making ethanol from sugarcane juice, molasses, BAB molasses. Then we are now giving permission to make ethanol from corn, rice curd. We have 280 lakh ton of rice in our godown. We can give rice to the whole world. Rice surplus, corn surplus. The MSP for corn is 1700 and market price coming up to 1000 rupees. So in a situation where the agriculture surplus production is available, if we can convert into ethanol, we can make the ethanol economy of 2 lakh crore, where 1 lakh crore will directly go into the hands of the farmer. Exactly this is the need of the country. So even we can make biomass, we can make bio CNG from biomass, that is parali, rice straw, cotton straw, wheat straw and bagasse. So even bamboo plantation is going on. I always remember one of the good example in Bangalore, the Bhima bamboo, which we can get per acre 200 tons. So from bamboo we can now planning to make bio aviation fuel. And already the Praj has complete the research by which from ethanol they can make the aviation fuel, which is already Air Force has used and approved that. So by using different type of technology, how it is possible for us to create good successful MSME in the rural, agriculture, tribal and socially, economically, educationally backward area. How we can create more employment potential there. How they can be given more initiative by which they can add wealth to the country. So this is exactly the most important thing for us. We need to actually the gap between India and Bharat is very high. We need to bridge this gap, and for that reason we need an integrated approach of development. And where the people like you who can make the research, who can identify the problem, and I am really happy that particularly the way in which the Global Alliance in Mass Entrepreneurship, the way in which you are taking the initiative, these are the good initiative and where it is going to inspire and motivate to other people to work in this direction. This is exactly the need of the hour, and one thing which is I am very much clear, that everything is not possible with only with the government. Government role is equally important, but the other stakeholders and organization of different stakeholders, their positivity, their development oriented approach, they are committed is very important. We are working as a teamwork. And I always giving a good example to everybody that when A person works A square and B person works B square, the total work is A square plus B square. But when B comes together, thinks together and works together, it comes A plus B bracket square equal to A square plus B square. And this A square, please A square plus twice AB. A plus B bracket may say equal to, that is come to A square plus B square plus twice AB. So that is exactly the result of collective team spirit. So the cooperation, coordination and communication between the stakeholders to create positivity and awareness, at the same time the cooperation, coordination and communication by which one thing which is a strength for you, which is available with the X stakeholder, we have to take it to the B where it is to be needed. So exactly on that line with the integrated approach, we need to develop our financial models, our technical models, and by which we are going to improve the quality of the products and reduce the cost of the product. I am very much bothered about the logistic cost also, logistic cost, labor cost, power cost, where government is trying to reduce that. We are making big express highways. Now we are making one highway from Delhi to Mumbai. The work, 50% of work is completed. It will be possible to get you Delhi to Mumbai, where just within 12 hours by car and 18 hours with the truck. Presently, the truck is taking 42 hours for Mumbai to Delhi, 48 hours. Then we are now trying to find out the use of different fuels. Now, in place of diesel, we are now trying to use LNG as a fuel. We are now planning to make electric highways by which we can reduce the cost. So this type, we are now already completed the waterways in Ganga from Varanasi to Haldia, Haldia, there is a Sea of Bengal, then it goes to Brahmaputra. Already dredging is completed, you can go up to Myanmar. Then Allahabad, Prayagraj to Varanasi also 1 meter dredging we have completed. And we have submitted, at that time when I was minister, submitted report to World Bank to making waterways from Delhi to Mathura, Mathura to Agra, Agra to Etawah, and Etawah to Allahabad, Prayagraj. Then it can go up to northeast, not only northeast but Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, China. So the goods in Punjab and Haryana, even we can develop Yamuna up to Panipat, Sonipat, and where we will get the water port will be there, and we can take it material with 4,000 ton barge, and we can take it up to China, Myanmar. So this type that we are going to reduce the cost. So there are different type of new vision, new innovations, new technology by which we can make reforms in the different sectors, and reform, perform and transform. That is the mission of the Prime Minister is telling everybody every time to all of us. So our main initiative in this direction, considering the all problems of the all stakeholders and giving them vision not only with only with financial help, that is important, but we have to give them a vision, an integrated vision for all the things. And that is exactly the need of the country where we can make Atmanirbhar Bharat. I am really happy for your organizing this MSME Finance Week from the Games, and definitely it is going to inspire, motivate, and giving a new vision 100% to the entrepreneurs. I am giving my special thanks to all CEOs who are promptly paying. They are doing excellent job. Really, the idea is now coming to my mind that we should create some awards to CEO, those who are very punctual and giving time-bound payment to the MSME. This is really a good idea. I am really happy for taking the initiative, and the way in which you are making this vision to the MSME, giving a good idea to all and making research, and at the same time to giving us all the report to the government and the ministry. It is really very much helpful for all of us. I am very much happy. I am giving my all thanks to you and best wishes. 100% in COVID-19, we will win this war. At the same time, we will win economic war, and we will be 100% going to make India a global economy, number one global economy in the world. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
So thank you very much for those inspiring words and the vision you laid out. We look forward to partnering actively with you and seeking your continued guidance and support in our journey ahead. So in closing, I'd like to just place on word quick appreciation for our team here, Mrs. Anjali Chip Tugal,